Welcome to another episode. Today we have Paulina Amador. She's a TEDx Genius coach, RMT life and business coach, and filmmaker. She's the owner of We Genius Minds and is currently focused on helping individuals unleash their genius, often in the form of a TEDx level talk. So, Paulina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Luis. It's an honor to be here with you. I appreciate very much the introduction. And yes, genius is what we are all about. And We Genius Minds focuses on helping individuals find, unleash their genius, and tap into their greatest potential.
I love that. Well, let's start at the top, right? This is a powerful, powerful mission there. How did it all come about?
Yes, thanks for the question. So, 10 years ago, or even further, I asked the question of why is it that there's some individuals that have just a bright mind,
Mm.
that think out of the box, that are inventors, futurists, visionaries, and why is it that we don't all go to that level or dare to get out of the boundaries of the known. So asking that question led me to create a documentary titled Evolution, the Genius Equation, which you can watch on Amazon or Apple TV, and focuses on answering the question of what is genius and is it something that we all can tap into, or is it reserved only for a few?
I love that. And so from your findings, of course, we'll all go watch it, but first and foremost, why is that important, right? Why should we even discuss this idea of genius? Because it is easy to probably write it off and say, "Oh, that's reserved for the select few," right? So, first of all, why is it important to explore that topic to begin with? And then what did you find through your filmmaking?
Yes, thank you. What a great question. What matters now is because the future needs visionaries, thinkers, creators to find new solutions, to
Mm,
propose new ways of being. And if we do not have those individuals, or if we do not have that curiosity in ourselves, we repeat more of the same. And that's why in our society, we see the same problems, we see the same issues, and people in a big way are asleep because they
mm,
aren't asking the big questions of what's next. What's next for you and me, not what's next out there. It has to start with us. And when
mm.
we start to ask that question and wonder and ponder about what is it in me that I haven't yet tapped into, what deeper answer, what greater solution, what
Mm,
brilliant thought, and that creates a whole new way of living, a whole new way of contributing to our
mm,
life, contributing to our clients, contributing to businesses, and to the future itself. We cannot create the future if we don't cast our mind forward. If we don't pause
yeah.
and bring new ideas that are not the same old way of
Yes.
way of being, that causes a lot of problems. To
Absolutely.
to recycle what already is, because we then all end up sounding the same. People say the same things. They're indoctrinated we are all in a certain in a big way. I mean, unless we dare to
Mm,
go into uncharted territories. And so through my research, I learned that most geniuses are visionaries. They
mm,
envision a new way of being, and that's where leadership really is at. Leaders have to, they cannot show the way, or they cannot inspire us if they aren't, or us as leaders, if we aren't bringing a whole new way, a whole new paradigm of thought, and a
Hmm.
whole new paradigm of how we operate as a society or even as a family. It starts with our own selves and ripples out to our own family, our friends, and then to our businesses and society and worldwide. And it takes the willingness and the daring to pause and not be in the rat race of, I have to belong, I have to be a
Mm.
part of how everybody thinks, dresses, looks, operates things. We have to pause and take that time for ourselves to to contemplate and to find the brilliance in us that has no ending,
Hmm.
because a visionary is is not someone that finds an answer instantaneously. It takes that long thought, like Einstein, took 10 years you know, finding the theory of relativity.
Yeah.
And that's one great example, but what is it in us that we're so passionate about that we're willing to take the time to unravel that to be of greater contribution to our
Mm.
world and to businesses? So it's not the same old.
Yes.
I think that currently in a lot of businesses there is repetition and there is the same old, and we all get into that AI-ish, you know, uh,
Yes.
robotic way.
Yes.
And I'm not against AI. AI is a tool that, as many have said, is saving us time so we can take that pause and contemplate something more brilliant, something more elevated. And in that pause, we're able to get out of that uh, rat race, of that urgency of, I have to be someone that I'm not.
Absolutely. And it seems like a big belief system within someone who wants to become a genius is like the pause and being a visionary. What else? What else do you notice are some of these beliefs that make up someone who wants to tap into that genius mind?
Is that urgency that it's in us that we most of the time silence to get on with life as it demands
Mm.
from us to belong,
Yeah.
and that is unfortunate because it's not currently fostered in our society to go
Mm.
and research for, hey, what
Mm.
is it that makes me brilliant and why? If we are equipped the same way, we have a brain, but we don't know much about it. We don't know how to access different parts of our brain. We don't know how to access new states of consciousness, new
Mm.
frequencies that really lead to what I was saying to you, to a whole new vision and a whole
Yeah.
new way of being. So it's a problem in our society that people are afraid to speak
Mm.
truthfully and to be themselves, for
Yeah.
the fear of being judged or the fear of, how dare you, or the fear of,
Yeah.
okay, I'm saying that genius, it's something that it's a great ability that we all have access to. And
Mm.
instead of starting on that journey of learning, as I was saying to you, more about neuroscience, for example, how we can rewire ourselves to a whole new way of being,
Yes.
or what is mind? How can we expand our mind
Mm.
to to ways that aren't known yet.
Yes. Absolutely. For the audience member who's listening to this and they agree they want that, but then they say, but Luis or Paulina, I'm a busy mom or I run two companies and like I am, busy with time and I don't have much time to pause. What would be the recommendation there or maybe the insight to help them make space for something that's extremely important?
You have to want it.
Mm,
Because if you don't, and I hear this from my clients oftentimes,
yeah.
they want it and they start in this journey that I initiate them
Mm,
on, which is the become a genius TEDx speaker. They want it because it's inspiring to them. They know there's more to them. They know there's more they
mm.
can contribute to. And they go back to what you're saying. Hey, but yeah, most of them are parents and most of them are very busy business owners. And
Yeah.
I always go back to them and say, hey, you have to really want these and you have to put it in your schedule and say, hey,
Mm,
today I'm gonna dedicate 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to master
mm-hmm.
something that is going to exponentially change my life, that's going to exponentially expand my business. And in my specialty comes back to public speaking. And I think that
Mm,
public speaking is not a uh, is not an ability that it's only for a few. I think that we are at a time where what we have to offer matters, but we have to bring a message that's so truthful, that's so out of the box. And that's what TEDx really is about, bringing a whole new idea
mm,
that we have never thought
yeah.
of in that way before. A new way of seeing a concept because
Mm,
everything is known to us already. I mean,
yeah.
in the quantum field, which is the
Yeah.
field where all possibilities exist, really everything is known. But what makes a difference is how do I understand it? How do I, as an individual, understand it? And how can I put it
Mm,
put it together in a way that can bring a solution to your business or that can expand your mind or that can uh, potentially create a whole new field of science
yeah.
or engineering. For example, I have a client that she is a ballerina and an quantum optics engineer.
Oh, wow.
And so for her, it's not about being just an engineer on or a ballerina. It's about what happens when you bring
Mm,
uh, those two disciplines together. So
mm-hmm.
genius has a lot to do with being multidisciplinary, and that's what
Yes.
thinking out of the box is. You're not just one thing. You're
Yeah.
so many things, and that's going back to your question in terms of, hey, I'm a busy business
Mm,
owner or a busy mom or family member. The question goes back to, do you really have that fire inside you that wants to contribute to a whole new multidisciplinary way of being
yeah.
rather than fitting to the status quo? And so
Mm,
for her, as an example, I really understand her because that's how genius thought. Leonardo da Vinci, he was a painter, he was an engineer, he was an architect, he
mm,
was um, master at
yeah.
geometry. And so in our current society, we are asked to fit within a box.
Yes.
one specialty, but really naturally as human beings, we don't operate like that. And we just
Mm,
have to not take an hour or not take uh, a very long time in contemplating or taking that pause. We just have to be truer to
yeah.
ourselves and our thinking and our ways of being. And that's where genius really starts. Do you really think for yourself? And I think it's a very
Mm,
important question. Do you consider that your thoughts matter?
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we don't even think about that anymore. We're just
Yeah.
in the rat race. We have to give results. We're busy, but people are asleep and aren't fully awake and fully alive and say,
Mm,
hey, I'm contemplating like her a whole new technology that has to do, for example, with the technology, the frontier of artificial intelligence, where machines are able to listen to us,
mm,
where we aren't being a servant
mm.
to an artificial intelligence, but where artificial intelligence is able to listen to us, not through a microphone. What I mean is, for example, listen to the neural activity in our brain
Oh, wow.
without
Mm,
filtering.
yes.
And for example, connecting those neurons for
Yes.
someone that's missing a limb, for example. And what does it mean for someone that has a disability, and all of a sudden new technologies are able to be more empathic with that human being and helping it to be able to function, where one function of their body in this example was lost once upon a
Mm,
time. So you see, that's really beautiful, rather than artificial intelligence being running on its own.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's where genius really comes into play. Where is it that we can contribute to a more
Yeah.
soulful, spiritual solution that has to do with the future, like these new healing technologies,
Mm,
that we hear from people that are thinking outside the box rather than following
yeah.
the medical system as is. And I'm just giving you different examples in terms of where the medical system is at, or where artificial intelligence is at, or I think we have to give permission to ourselves to, as I was saying, to be multidisciplinary, because
Mm-hmm.
then our life becomes an adventure and not a have to do. So
Yeah.
genius is a state of consciousness. It's a more
Mm,
elevated state of consciousness that we all can tap into.
yeah. And it's interesting, right? Because maybe for someone who's as we would say in the trenches, right? They're working on something, they're building something, maybe they're entrepreneurial within an organization or they have their own enterprise. It's interesting because it's easy to hear this and say, "Oh, that sounds good," but just like I don't fit into that mold, or like I'm not a genius. So there's an identity level shift or an allowance and acceptance of who we are and what we can do. So what do you recommend for that individual who, I mean, I don't know if you want to call it self-worth, right? Maybe they have some challenges around being worthy of being a genius. But what would be your recommendation to those who they say, no, I agree with you, sounds great, but I don't know, it's just not for me.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. It comes back to, do you really have a passion for something that's
Mm,
unknown to you? And do you give the time and the permission to yourself
mm,
to go to uncharted territory? And it's different for all of us. For
Yeah.
example, for me, I wanted to know everything about the brain. I wanted to know everything about why is it that we only access a 10% or even less of our brain, and did these greater geniuses access more parts of our brain? And in asking that question, I went on a journey of learning everything about neuroscience and that we could literally rewire our brain to that
Mm,
which we focus on. Focus is everything. If I focus on I'm not worthy, I
mm,
cannot, how could I
yeah.
be a genius? But who says someone can be one or not? Who
Mm,
decides that? We decide
yeah.
how far how far we go in our abilities, how far we go in following our dreams, in following what matters most to us or not.
Yes.
The power is in us, and we have every single day the choice to choose that or not. To say, I don't have time, I'm busy, this is not for me, do I deserve? It's not about deserving, it's about
Mm,
making the time and laser focusing on that which you want to discover that you don't yet know. And I tell you, there's so much we don't know. There really is, out in space. They just went to the moon for a second time
mm-hmm.
2 days ago. I mean, we don't know what's out there in space. We don't know what's underwater. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know so much. And so see, maybe in that context starts to make sense. If we stay within the known boundaries,
Yeah.
we can never discover a new civilization. We could never discover that there was life in other planets. Once
Mm-hmm.
upon a time, exoplanets were unthinkable. What's an exoplanet? It's a planet that promises life similar to Earth. Isn't
Mm-hmm.
that exciting to think of that? Now there are experts that work on that. So it's not so outlandish to think,
Yes.
oh, what is it that's beyond your boundaries that's gonna make you fully alive, be fully invested?
Mm,
As simple as it could be, too. It could be, hey, I want to, for example, I love Tony Robbins helping people that are hungry. That's a passion, and
mm,
it took a genius mind like his to bring millions of dollars to people in need. So see, depending on where your
mm-hmm.
interest is at and how far are you willing to go. So it's not about being worthy of it or not. It's about do you dare to
Mm,
make
yeah.
the choice? Do you dare to ask the big questions that we all have inside, but we don't even give time for it?
Yes,
It's,
yes,
it's
yes.
a game. It's a game changer. I tell you, I see it in my clients. My
Mm,
clients that are currently constructing their genius talks, they
mm,
find and discover things about themselves that were always there, but never there to go there. And in my program, we really focus on those things that are out of the box that they so wanted themselves but
mm-hmm.
never there to take the time or go in that journey. And I tell you, and now they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're already going to be giving these incredible talks that are going to change our society forever. And I humbly believe that that's part of our mission in
Mm,
life, to be of greater contribution to another. I think it's our greatest joy.
mm-hmm.
And it takes daring to say, hey, I'm going to listen to that thought in me to that idea, to that new business, to that new technology that I know I can be of contribution to. And I'm gonna start in that journey. What does it take? You have to learn something new. You have
Yeah.
to maybe partner with someone in that specialty. You maybe have to bring investors. You maybe have to knock on the door on some of the greatest minds of our time and inquire about what would it take, as an example, to discover a new planet out there, and can you be a part of that team of researchers, as an example. So
Mm,
that's what it takes. It takes to make the choice and be willing to walk in unknown territory because the resources are available. We
mhm,
have to be resourceful ourselves, believe in ourselves, and begin that journey that's going to be a game changer for ourselves, for our family, and even more as a contribution to the world. Give be memorable, create a
mm.
legacy for something that hasn't been yet discovered. And that's what genius is all about.
Absolutely. And there's a trait there that I'd like you to expand on, and it's this idea of curiosity,
Love it.
right? Because that's really, I think, at the heart of what you're talking about is that, and it's funny because there's another saying, where it's like, well, curiosity killed the cat, like you were asking too many questions, but I think a part of it is asking questions and exploring and being curious and like exploring beyond our comfort zone. So talk a little bit more about the importance of staying curious, especially maybe for an older crowd where they're like, well, I've seen, to your point, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. Everything's already been done. Like, what else could I do? How can you remind them the importance of curiosity?
Yes, it's a beautiful word, beautiful way of being, because kids are very curious. I mean, that's, everything is new. They want to know everything about everything. And
Mm,
we've lost that ability
yes.
because we think that at a certain age, we are a place where we should have already accomplished certain things. Perhaps we have expectations
Yeah.
about ourselves and we lose that sense of curiosity. And curiosity should be our best friend in a,
Mhm.
in on a daily basis. If you walk outside, for example, I look through my window and there's just nature is so beautiful and we have so much to learn from nature. Really, some of the greatest technologies are mimicking nature itself.
Mhm.
Engineering, the greatest engineers of
Exactly.
architects, just that as a simple example, and we're surrounded by it, but we took it for granted.
Mm,
We took for granted that we are inhabiting an alive planet that if we do not live in harmony with it, it's going to continue to create the problems that we are facing in our world. And
mhm.
I'm not going to, as we promised, get
I
into get into politics, but nature itself is our greatest teacher. It really is.
Yeah.
And the curiosity to want to know the secrets, the
Yes.
secrets of how nature operates, how resilient it is, how it goes dormant throughout the winter and dreams a new dream and blooms
Mm,
in a whole new way through spring and expands throughout summer.
Mm-hmm.
That is a mechanism that it's a mirror to us, but we
Yes.
have become automated because of technology. We are um, creatures of habit,
Mm-hmm.
and our curiosity, it's it's our power. It's our superpower. So once we give ourselves that permission, then focusing on that curiosity and going through that tunnel, through that journey, and
Mm.
following it all the way is what gives results to our business, our endeavors, our life itself. So yes, my recommendation is be curious
Yes.
about everything, and be
Mm.
curious about how nature works,
Mm.
and take its insights and apply them to your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's huge. You could never finish discovering what nature has to teach us.
That's right. Yes.
Like, I mean it in every single aspect of our life. Nature
Mm.
loves us unconditionally. Nature embraces us. Nature is ever so abundant.
Yes.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so when we lack something in ourselves or in our business, is because we have forgotten, as you said, to be curious about what makes a business thrive. It's not about competition. Nature shows us that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nature blooms irregardless,
Yeah.
and is of contribution
Mm-hmm.
irregardless of beauty, and so many other things. And so our business can be, if we learn from those values, those universal values. Every single genius mind was inspired by nature. Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
all of them. All of
That's
them.
right.
Like research, as I said to you, the greatest architects, engineers, thinkers, philosophers,
Yes.
from Carl Jung, from Joseph Campbell, in every discipline that you can ever imagine. It's not like, oh, yeah, go outside and appreciate nature. No, I don't mean it in that way. I mean that it's architecture, its essence, its spirit, it's all of its values, its resilience, its genius. Mother
Mm-hmm.
Nature is our greatest teacher and could change our world in so many ways, in so many beautiful ways, if we would only be curious to learn more about the ins and outs of nature and how it works and how we can apply it to every single aspect of our life.
Yes, yes, yes. A big piece to that is also creativity and innovation, right? So maybe for the entrepreneurs or people that are stuck in their ways is really what we're getting at, right? Is somebody who's maybe stuck in their ways, there is an opportunity, or someone who is just naturally curious and they don't know how to funnel that energy. Tell us more about this idea of being innovative and being creative, and then also maybe as we start to wrap up, how can then people take that energy and build something amazing like a TEDx level speech, or tell us a little bit more about that, the power of being innovative.
I think we first have to be honest with ourselves, Luis. I mean, we cannot innovate if we aren't being truthful to ourselves.
Mm,
It's very interesting how that works, because if we are in autopilot
mm-hmm,
on a day to day, and that's how we operate, we cannot innovate. And autopilot is not being truthful with
yeah,
ourselves. because innovation starts right there. What matters to you the most that you
Mm-hmm.
are willing to go there and that you're willing to innovate from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are on autopilot and following rules and following
Yeah.
ways of beings, we can never really do that. I mean,
Yeah.
think of the greatest minds of our time. They were all outside the status quo. All.
Yeah.
So we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to really think for ourselves.
Mm.
What matters most to you? What is it that you want to contribute to another? As I was saying to you, one area of expertise, someone that has lost a limb.
Mm.
If it's in your heart to help
Yeah.
those kinds of people, you have to pause and be truthful to yourself and say, hey, you know what? This hurts. It hurts for me to see someone in need and I am not doing anything.
Yes.
Is when we're disconnected because we stop caring, we stop seeing who else
Mm.
can we be of contribution to. And that's what I mean by being honest, because we're
Yes.
so automated in the way we are that we don't care anymore. We focus on ourselves, we focus on our problems,
Mm.
and we stop being truthful where we lose contact
Yeah.
with how can I help truthfully
Mm.
another.
Mission driven.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so if we have lost touch with
Yeah.
ourselves in that level, we don't even, as you, yeah, that's really a great point. As you just said, we don't even know why are we here, the reason and purpose of our life, why our life matters, what our mission is, and what we envision as a greater world for us, and the
Mm-hmm.
world at scale. So when we are in touch with ourselves, we start to care again.
Yes.
We start to care, and that's where, uh, you know, we.
Uh,
I don't know
Whoa.
what we lost time is. We've been talking for a long time, but I should conclude about this. Is that okay?
Yeah, but I don't, hold on. I need to make sure it's recording on my, what
It's in,
happened?
it's recording again. I see it on mine,
Yeah, I
but
just
it
need to
said
make sure.
recording stopped.
I know. That is so weird. As long as it's recording locally. Okay, it is. Okay. Um,
You lost.
well,
You run out of space.
no, no, as that's never happened before. I don't know what happened. The Zoom crashed and then it opened back up and
Should
that's
I
it.
conclude this point?
Yeah, so let me kind of like go back into that because you were saying something big around this idea of like
Innovation and be truthful to ourselves, because if not, we cannot.
yeah, but also there was another point there. It was almost like when you didn't say it, but it's like when we don't tap into that sense of creativity and innovation, that's when we lose the mission part, you know?
Okay.
So let me
Yes,
let me go.
you like that part.
Yeah, so like so we'll cut right here. So yeah, so then just to wrap up, tell us more about that piece specifically around the mission, right? And why it is important for us to serve as a reminder for everybody to tap into a mission and allow that to create this sense of urgency to be more innovative. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Luis. So, having a mission is being in contact with what matters to us,
Mm,
how, what we care the most for. If we don't have that, if we are in autopilot and we're not in touch with that part of ourselves, we're not going to show up every day to fulfill our mission because we don't even know it. We are
Mm,
doing our work for somebody else or simply for money or for survival, and we are out of touch with
mm,
what matters most to us. And that's why, going back to the beginning of our podcast, that's why genius matters. That's why the pause that you were saying, hey, if we are all busy and we don't
yeah.
have time, why would I pause? Pause for you to find out what is it that you love, that you're so
Mm,
passionate about. What is it that you dreamt when
mm,
you were a kid, when you were a teenager, that you so long forgot about? What was that that you knew you were meant to do? What was that? Remember that. Take a short pause. Remember
mm,
it and go for it. Do whatever it takes to fulfill your mission. But you only know that inside yourself. When you become true to ourselves and you remind yourself, hey, I was meant, I was
mm,
meant to create a whole new industry in so and so. I was meant to help so many. I was meant to change the world. I know I came into this life with a purpose and a mission
mm,
that is echoing inside me, but I have forgotten, and I am ready to remember, and I am ready to really fulfill why I came into this life and
yes.
to be mission driven so my life becomes a life of meaning and contribution once again. That's why the pause
Mm,
matters. And genius is only telling you that there's a next level.
yes.
That's all there is. It's a next is there's a next level within you. The future awaits you, and the future needs visionaries and
Mm,
creators for it to be the evolution of what already was. That is an exciting time to look for and to be of contribution for. That's why it matters, because we all matter and we all came here with a bigger purpose and we must fulfill it.
yes, I love this so much. So how can people tap into that genius in terms of working possibly with you, or maybe you offer a resource? Where can they find more about you and just the wonderful mission here in the brand?
Definitely. So they can find me at wegeniusminds.com through my website, or also on social media at wegeniusminds as well, or through my name, Paulina Amador. I do definitely offer workshops, one-on-one
Hmm.
coaching, and I love the TEDx stage because it's where we all get to express that which we envision that
Hmm.
turns into our mission. The
I
TEDx
love
stage
that.
allows us to do just that.
I love that. And last question as we wrap up here, if and I think I have an idea, but just to ask, if this was the last message that you can share with the world, what is that core central message?
What a great question. Ooh, believe in yourself again.
Mm,
Believe in yourself again and
mm,
listen to that voice that is whispering
mm,
for you to be the greatest version of you and what you once upon a time dreamt that you could be, to follow that voice, which is our intuition, our knowingness, and make it your best friend. Do not listen to anyone before you listen to what you have to say. That's it.
Wonderful. That's a beautiful message. Well, thank you so much, Paulina, and thank you, viewers and listeners. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luis. You're
One.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.